Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and are you ready for the best scout games, at least with regards to raw assistance for 2021? Today, our hero is going to be Bohdanator. They're playing in the T100 LT, which is arguably the best scouting light tank in the game, alongside the EBR 105, and he is spawned in to the ultimate map for scouting, which has to be Prokhorovka. Okay, so firstly, things to highlight about this game. I love the fact that his team realized exactly how important a light tank is on Prokhorovka. He's in a duel with Curry91, not sure if that's an anonymized name on the enemy team in their T100 LT, and Bohdanator has already done a couple of really awesome things. Firstly, he handbrake turned to be able to go into the bush, to be able to facing his escape route, because he knew that that location of the map is where the light tanks will fight for. Secondly, he saw that the tree was knocked down by the enemy light tank. And thirdly, without even auto-aiming, is going to shut down the T100 on the enemy team in the first minute and 15 seconds. I know how that feels. I have been the enemy T100 LT nearly as many times as I have been the T100 LT that Bohdanator is playing. It is an immensely satisfying feeling to know that you have vanquished all of the light tanks on the enemy team. And look what Bohdanator says. He says, I am the King Scout. Yeah, you are. You are, Bohdanator. You've done this absolutely perfectly. And your team also know exactly how important it was, with the Object 279E on Bohdanator's team saying, nice, now it's your game. And Bohdanator is going to reverse, slowly but surely, through these bush lines towards the enemy team. Now he's staying on the left-hand side of the bushes, but he's got to be careful here because there's a bit of a gap in the bush, but I love what he's doing with going right there to actually stay in it and also to remain hidden from the leopard above. Now the leopard has pulled back behind the ridgeline. Bohdanator can continue to advance. Bohdanator titles his replay as Commander's vision system is OP, and sure, in a situation like this, bud, it totally is. If you're watching this video, which you probably are if you're listening to my voice, why not stop right now and go down to the comments down below and write what you think Bohdanator is going to be able to achieve with regards to assistance today. I'd really like to see what the guesses are going to be before you actually see what kind of a total it's going to go up to, because by the end of it, you'll see that it's absolutely staggering. So Bohdanator is just slowly but surely working his way along this bush line, stopping when he spots a vehicle, and he must be absolutely chuffed that he looks like he actually has a very good team on his hands for once in a light tank. We can see a huge gun line behind, and they're actually managing to damage the enemy vehicles. I have to admit, for every time I manage to get myself in this kind of a situation, there's at least one or two times that it just feels like my team are not even worth spotting for, right? Or that one of the enemy vehicles is going to realize what is happening and is going to just rush out towards you. Alright, so Bohdanator has already given his team a 3,000 hit point advantage. And I would be very surprised if Bohdanator wasn't using coated optics and vents in addition to the Commander's vision system. And we can see what kind of an impact that results in. 8,000 spotting in the first 3.5 minutes of this game. Bohdanator wasn't trying to do any of the cheeky missions for the light tanks. I was almost hoping he was. But this is enough already to have completed, I believe, the hardest light tank mission in the game, where I think it's 8,000 combined, or is it 10,000 combined for an Object 260? I remember over the years so many people constantly asking me how to be able to complete the light tank mission for the Object 260, and really the only way that you're able to achieve it, just quickly, Bohdanator actually manages to get spotted there going through that position, luckily avoids the shells, luckily facing away from his opponent so he can jet set it away from them, and is still managing to rack in thousands and thousands of assistance. We're up to 14,000 assistance damage here, and we're not even done yet. Bohdanator showing an absolute perfect run here in every way. This is pretty much how you play Prokhorovka 101 in a light tank. Dominate the enemy light tank at the beginning, use that to your advantage to then just run away with the game. And while I definitely think that it's fun for Bohdanator and it's fun for the players on his team absolutely wailing on the enemy team here, I have to admit it does feel very frustrating when you're one of these players who are caught at the back of the map getting absolutely butchered because your light tank got outplayed. So back to what I was saying about the hardest light tank mission in the game. really, what you're going to see today, this isn't going to be the only replay I show. What you're going to see today is how to achieve the hardest light tank missions in the game. And Bohdanator starts it off, and this was the highest assistance damage in World of Tanks in 2021. Now, I could go down the list and just show you all of the highest assistance damages, which are, surprise, surprise, all on Prokhorovka, but I don't think you're really going to learn much from that. Why don't I show you the next highest assistance that is not on Prokhorovka? So now we're going to be seeing the highest spotting in 2021 on the second best light tank map in the game. Take it away, Brandy87, of course, on Malinovka. This vehicle, the T100LT, a lot of people would be thinking, well, why is Brandy not trying to make his way towards the middle and maybe try to use one of these bushes? Well, I think you've seen in the Best Moments videos how easy it is for good players to be able to find out who is in exactly what bush. And the kind of bush that I prefer to go to is this bush that Brandy's trying to attack. Not that one directly in front, but the one on the left. This is the ultimate spotting location for the southern team on Malinovka. Once you manage to get here, you can see that with the great speed of the T100LT, Brandy87 has already managed to take pole position and already lighting up all of the enemy vehicles before they've even managed to pretty much leave their spawn. We're only a minute into the game here, and it feels like Brandy has already dominated the direction that the game is going. And when you play your light tanks and you manage to get in these pivotal locations for the game, that's exactly what you're doing. Now, there aren't only these kind of positions on the two maps that you're going to be seeing. There are a lot of other positions that I don't have time to really be able to cover entirely in the video today, but it's the kind of positions which you can learn a lot from either watching streams or alternatively by watching some of the great light tank gameplay that we've had all the way through the year. My point is that in a light tank, if you're able to sneak your way into one of these kind of locations, you just pretty much set the way that the game is going to go right from the get-go. You can see that the Griller looked like the Griller was trying to blind fire here at where Brandy was. Looks like the SDB-1 maybe figures out what is going on, but really can't do much about it. By controlling this position, the enemies aren't able to kind of set up that defensive location to be able to support the efforts at engaging your team that are making their way up along the zero line on top of the hill, which makes them feel very confident. And also it means that your team aren't going to be concerned about getting engaged from down below. Now, it'd be very interesting to know, what is the EBR-105 doing in this scenario? Do you think the EBR-105 has decided to go and sit in this kind of a bush location? I'd say this is okay in some scenarios, especially when it comes to trying to get damage at vehicles that like to make their way towards the southwest of the map. But I'd say, all in all, sitting in that kind of a position doesn't really have the impact that it needs. More often than not, Malinovka is not won through a push on the west, but instead by situating yourself in this all-important central position, and also by trying to put pressure on either your opponents for the enemy team here, or alternatively for Brandy's team to try and put pressure up on locations here. That is the way that you can be able to choke the game out. And this poor E100, I guess they decided to go across to the west, try and stop anybody from pushing across, and is getting spotted literally 800, well, in the 200 meters from the north of this map. He's got about a 200 meter corridor where they can play around in the bushes, where that is all that's going to happen. So it looks like, because of Brandy87's vision in this game, none of the enemy team feel confident enough to be able to push up on top of the hill. And Brandy's going to take advantage of that by getting into position and hopefully continuing to slowly but surely dip his toes into this bath, and hopefully, as we saw in my Best Moments video, not going to be burning any other of the more important parts of their anatomy. Now, with the T100LT, what are we seeing about the two T100LT drivers today featured in the video? Well, we're seeing that we don't know exactly what equipment they're using, although this is obviously equipment 2.0 came out halfway through last year. Unfortunately, because the field mods weren't around at the time where these two videos, or these two replays, I should say, came out, we can't see exactly what equipment they're using. But I'm pretty darn sure, well, I know for sure, that on Prokhorovka, it was Commander's Vision System, as we're going to see in the post-game stats and the title of it. On this map, I'd be very surprised if Brandy87 was not also using a commander's vision system. Up until field modifications were put in the game, and the only tanks that could be able to get a scouting slot were light tanks. No other class in the game had the ability to be able to pump up the commander's vision system, and oh, that's just horrific. It looks like the EBR and the enemy team maybe went and sat in this bush, or alternatively sat here, and then when they saw that their team was starting to melt and they weren't getting any spotting, did a hero run, and they just got absolutely dominated there. That was sad to see. But now that field modifications are in the game, and once you manage to get your medium tanks, I think from tier 8 and up to the 6th slot of the field mods, or the 6th level of field mods, you can assign an additional slot to your second slot of equipment. You can assign a second bonus, I should say, to your second slot. And that allows medium tanks also to get the bonus to Commander's Vision System, which can allow them to do outrageous things like you're seeing here. And especially considering that you can also pump up the camo rating of medium tanks, as I showed you in my K91 Masterclass video, to 40% when you're moving or 50% when you're stationary. If you were to combine those vehicles which have very good base view range with also Commander's Vision Systems, you could be doing what Brandy is doing here, just not quite so well. But be careful, because your camo rating is never going to be as good as what a T100 LT or an EBR can manage to achieve, but you can get ridiculous sums of spotting which can help you either just influence your games to be able to pump up your win ratio, or alternatively maybe if you're trying to hunt your ace tankers or your marks of excellence. Wow, Brandy got hit directly there by a Batchat 15558, but luckily the compact size and relatively thick armor of the T100 LT stops him from taking too much damage. And now we are up to 16,000 spotting on Malinovka, and there's still 7,000 left on the enemy team for Brandy to try and light up. So it looks like he catches the STB-1 in the corner, maybe the E100 as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're lighting too much of the STB-1, or maybe they're having to share it with the Object 279E, who of course is also wanting to plow forwards, probably on a good amount of hit points. Yeah, still half of their hit points left, and so they're wanting to try and come and take some of Brandy's juicy spotting at the end of the game. But still, adding up to it, now up to 18,500. Brandy's feeling absolutely chuffed about it. We can see in chat says nearly 20,000 spot, yet you are showing once again a master class here on how to play the T100 LT. But Brandy, you're not done yet. I know you're super excited, but you could be spotting the Progetto. Brandy goes, oh wait, there was another tank to be able to spot. Oh, Brandy, no. Maybe if you'd gone towards the Progetto, you could have got the extra bit of spotting there, and maybe you would have punched yourself over 20k. But still, not a bad effort, right? So Bohdanator calls his replays title T100 LT, 23,000 spotting, 1,800 base experience, Scout King in capitals, in brackets, Commander's Vision System is OP. Do you know what, Bohdanator? I cannot disagree with any of those statements, because you banked them all up. And I think considering that you got the most assistance of any player that uploaded their replay to the What Replays website in 2021, I'm calling you the Scout King from now on. Congratulations to you, Bohdanator, for this absolute perfect. And the one thing that I loved about this is while Bohdanator managed to achieve a lot, and there's no doubt that he got lucky in this situation with how the game developed, they played the game flawlessly. I could not pick up one mistake that Bohdanator made, and did absolutely everything perfectly to outplay the T100 LT on the enemy team and setting up complete domination for their team. Bohdanator lit up also 13 out of 15 of the vehicles on the enemy team and makes 121,000 credits profit with only firing 6 shots. Brandy on Malinovka also had a cracking game and played it absolutely perfectly, once again with sneaking into the optimal bush and then knowing just how far to push the tempo, to not take too many risks, but also still to get the maximum amount out of this battle, racking up 19,682 spotting, which was the most in 2021 on the Malinovka map. And so Brandy, congratulations to you on a mammoth game, and thank you so much for uploading your replay to the What Replays website to show us all exactly how to scout the Malinovka map. at least from the South Spawn. And the same goes out to you, Bohdanator. Congratulations to you on being the Scout King of 2021. Well deserved with this flawless game that undoubtedly a lot of us can learn from. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below, what is the most amount of spotting you've ever been able to achieve, and what tank did you use to achieve it? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.